Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my day 5 Glorious Goodwood preview. It's the final day of Glorious Goodwood. It's not been a bad week for us, a few up and down days, but generally overall I think we're just going to come out with a small bit of profit, but a lot will depend on how our selections run today. Also as well, I just want to apologise for not uploading this video last night. I was very busy and I just didn't have time. And also as well, I'm going to have to make the announcement that there will be no Galway preview today. I will do a preview for Galway tomorrow. That'll be out later tonight, and that definitely will be up. I do have the time to do that later. But yeah, unfortunately there'll be no Galway preview for today. So just Goodwood, and hopefully we can have some winners. Now the first race actually kicks off a little bit later than it has done earlier this week. It's going to be kicking off at 1:50, and this is the Stewards Cup consolation race. Very tough race. I thought you could make cases for so many in here, but unfortunately I've fallen for the cliff horse that a lot of people will know, called the Lamplighter, for Shane Kelly and George Baker. You can currently back him at 20-1, which I thought was quite a big price actually, with 5 places. So I'm going to recommend the each way there, 5 places. But yeah, this horse, he's one of these horses that he always is an eye catcher. He always does something wrong and then runs on strongly, and then you forgive him and then you get drawn with him next time. But the reason I've gone for him today is because of his Goodwood record. He's been here on 3 occasions, and every time he's run a credible race, he's a course winner. He's finished 2nd and he's finished 4th, so he's never been outside of the first 4, and they were in big fields as well. So that's not that's not a negative at all. You definitely think that Goodwood's going to bring out the best in him today. And he's actually coming into this race with a little bit of form to his name. He's been running well. He's made frame a couple of starts this season. He finished 2nd at Newmarket, 2nd at Goodwood, and he's off a mark of 73. And he's a horse that will probably come with a late run. He likes to be held up. A lot of things need to go right for him, but at 20-1, I think he's got a chance at a big price of at least making the frame. I'd be disappointed if he didn't. He's going to be my long shot for the day as well. And George Baker's team, he's a small trainer, but he actually does quite well with the ammunition he gets. And I went to his stable earlier in the year before lockdown, had a little tour there, and yeah, he's a nice bloke. And he, like I said, he does quite well with his horses that he does have. So for me, the Lamplighter, 20-1 each way, I think he's got a good chance of going close, and fingers crossed he can have another good run at Goodwood. We then go to the 225, and again, this race didn't look easy on paper. I think it's going to be a hard day today, but I've gone for Quloob, for Shane Kelly and Gary Moore. They had a winner in the week, I think it was 50-1 with Juggernaut. Gary Moore, he's no stranger to having winners at Goodwood. It's one of his local tracks. He does really quite well with his flat horses here. Now, this horse, Quloob's, had quite a decent flat record, to be fair. At one time was rated in the mid-90s and is now back down to a mark of 88. Has mixed it up over jumps and has ran respectably, but probably is more at home on the flat. Now, you go back through some of this horse's form. He was running in some alright handicaps last year. He didn't win, but he was fancied quite a few times when he did make the frame. And last time we saw him, he ran at Royal Ascot, where he ran a lot better than the bare results suggest. He ran well for a long way, but then just got tired. That was over 2.5 miles. He's probably more effective over a trip like this of 1.6 miles. With a nice low racing weight, that old cliche off his back, you know, and a few horses in here that maybe might not like the ground so quick. There's a few horses in here that I think are better with a bit of ease in the ground. I think Quloob might have a chance, and Gary Moore's team, like we already said, they've been in fair form of late. And I think at 10-1, that's a fair each way bet, and that's going to be the tip there. We then go to the 3 o'clock, and it's just now a 3-runner race for the Lilly Langtry. Disappointing. This is normally quite a good renewal every year. However, we do have 3 nice runners, but I'm going to take a chance here with the outsider of the field. That is Cabeletta for David Egan and Roger Varian. They won this race a couple of years ago. I remember I was there that day working with BBC Radio Sussex, and we interviewed David Egan when he won on Pilaster in the Cheveley Park colours. This filly is for exactly the same connection, same jockey, same trainer, same owner. But this time she's only going to have to beat 2 rivals if she's to win this race, but I think she can do, and I think the race might set up quite well for her. I could see Snow being the likely pacemaker. She's a horse that's like to get on with it, and I think it'd be between MBR and Cabeletta. Now this Cabeletta, she's got really strong form. She finished 2nd in a listed race at Newbury behind Franconia. That form's worked out really well because the third horse, Shemade, won a fillies handicap the other day at Glorious Goodwood, and also as well Franconia was a winner at York at the weekend, last weekend, and also as well the David Minutier filly ran a respectable race over in France to make the frame in a listed race there, and I think that's not a bad level of form. She then did go to Haydock, and things just didn't work out against Manuela de Vega, but she won a listed race at Newbury last time, and I think she just got to the front a little bit too early that day, and I think that going up in trip will help her, and if they can settle her a lot better, you're going to have Snow that's going to be making the pace, I think, here. I think if Cabeletta can get switched off, be tracking the pace, you know, and David Egan can time his run to perfection at 13-2 with a 3-year-old allowance as well, she's still improving. She just might be the way to go. MBH, I thought probably did need the run last time out, and she is the one they've all got to beat. She's the class act. But for me, I would just like to be taking her on with something at a bit of a bigger price. And for me, Cabeletta at 13-2 is a respectable price there to be having a small bet on. We then go to the 3:35, the Stewards Cup. Now this horse is actually going to be my next best, and that's Atlantis Boy for Thomas Greater X, claiming £3. He's riding for David Minutier, and currently back this horse at 16-1 each way with the 6 places. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm actually on this horse at 25. I did put it up on Twitter yesterday that this was my selection. A few people had been asking me what I fancied for this race, and 1 or 2 people said, would I tip up George Byrne? But it's hard to forgive his last start. But I do think he'll be one to maybe back later in the season and probably go on Wednesday, won't he now? But yeah, Atlantis Boy. I just think that this horse, this has been a target for the shrewd David Minutier. Now, he's a team when his horses are in form, they're in form. And in the last week, they've really been starting to find their feet. They had, I think it was a treble at Sandown last week, and their horses that have run since then, they had a winner, I think it was a Newmarket with Nuit St George, and then they've had a couple of runners this week, and they both made the frame at big prices for David Minutier, so they're running well. And this Atlantis Boy, he's ran really well at Goodwood on the past. He's dual course and distance winner. He won here on heavy ground, then he actually finished second, but then he got awarded a race in the Stewards Inquiry, so that makes up for why he did. He has 2 course and distance wins to his name, but still, nonetheless, we know he loves the place. He's got draw on, not bad draw on stall 5 as well. I don't think normally you want to be in the middle. You normally want to be towards one of the rails. I don't think there's really a pace bias really for wherever it is. But Atlantis Boy, he's a horse that's quite versatile really. You can ride him up the pace, you can ride him in behind. I think if I was Tom Greater X, I would just want to be tracking the pace. You know, you don't want to be too far back. We had a nightmare yesterday with Sebastian where he got absolutely no run at all, and he could have definitely been challenging to make the frame anyway. And yeah, Atlantis Boy, I think off a mark of 88, he's not to be underestimated. You know, he's going to have a nice low racing weight. He's not in a bad draw. He can race very versatile tactically, and his form's not been too bad. His run at Windsor last time when he finished second, that's got a bit of substance for it, with chairman of the board and a couple of others that are going to be running in here. I don't think he's to be underestimated, and it's a good indication that there's been a little bit of money for him as well. And for me at 16-1, I think that's still a fair each way bet, and with 6 places on offer with the majority of firms, I think that's not a bad each way selection. So that's going to be my next best, and fingers crossed Atlantis Boy can run well. We then go to the 4:10 with King Ragnar. I've put him up every start this season, and he finally gave us our due rewards when he won at Leicester last time out. Now again, he's a David Egan and Roger Varian combination here. You can currently back him at 11-2. I'm just going to recommend the win-only bet. Now, like I said, he's been really consistent, and I think they really found the key to him. Now, 7 furlong seems to be his trip. He's a tough, battling horse. I always go on about Last Kingdom with this horse because I love that show, and one of the main characters in Ragnar Ragnarsson always reminds me here of King Ragnar, and he's tough and he's hard like Ragnar too. You know, he really fought out that victory to beat George Scott's horse at Leicester. That was a class 4, so he did step up into class 2, but if you actually look at the ratings, there's not really much in it. But yeah, he was raised £5 by the handicapper for that win at Leicester. But his form at Newmarket is very good after that, and as long as he's timed to perfection, I think King Ragnar, with his game attitude, he can be really tough to pass. Society Line is the one that I am scared of. He's got good form from his last run at Doncaster that's really been well advertised, but for me he's a little bit too short and he's too obvious. and I just wonder about his attitude as well, because he did have every chance to win that race at Doncaster. But for me, King Ragnar, 11-2, win only bet, but I'd be disappointed if he couldn't go close. We then go to the 440, the 2-year-old race. Again, all these races are always difficult. I always probably prefer a little bit more of experience if there's someone on offer, and I thought Longini for Sylvester de Souza and Richard Hannon could be the way to play here. Currently 9-1, going to recommend an each way bet. This horse finished second in a 4-runner field at Doncaster, and the race was won by Seventh Kingdom, and he went on to boost the form by running third in the Superlative Stakes at Newbury. He's rated 101 now, and that form actually is not a bad race. There's been some good results thrown up from it, so it's not a bad level. And I think this horse is the typical Richard Hannon 2-year-old that always seems to will seem to come forward from their first run. They're not normally noted for being sharp out the blocks first time out on their debuts, and I just think this horse at 9-1 is a fair price for the King Power Group, and I'd be disappointed if he couldn't make the frame. So fingers crossed that horse can go in. We then go to my nap, which runs in the last, the Apprentice race, and in the 5-10 I thought Sword Beach was had a very good chance here. Now, he's trained by Eve Johnson Horton, who's a trainer I've got a lot of time for, and Georgia Dobie as well. I think she's actually quite good. She's a good apprentice rider. She claims £3. Now, this horse, I think you can forgive his run last time at Newbury. Things didn't go to suit. It's not a track that I think ideally suits him. I think more of a sharper track like Goodwood will be more up his street. Now, like I said, if you go back through his form, he was quite an encouraging 2-year-old. He actually finished second here last year in quite a decent nursery, which featured the likes of Torres Strike, who was a winner earlier in the week at Glorious Goodwood. So he got some good form here next to his name. And I think on a drier surface, even though he has won at York, he's dangerous here. And he's a horse who likes to race prominently. And he's got a good draw on stall too. And I wouldn't want him to make the run-in, but if he was just there, just tracking the pace, you know, so he doesn't get any hard luck stories, I think he's got a good chance. And Georgia Dobie as well, with her £3 claim, she's going to be then getting even more weight from some of her rivals, who she has met a few times this season with this horse, Sword Beach. Got the likes of Overwriting here and that, but he has been shown some ability. I think he had a 3rd place shown earlier in the season, you know, and 16-1 with 4 places on offer. I thought that was quite a big price, and I'm quite bold about his chances, really. I'd be disappointed if he couldn't go really close. And for me, I just think he's got a great chance. So yeah, it's a lot to like about Sword Beach. Good form from last year. He's been holding his form last time out. I forgive the Newbury run. I don't think it's a track that suits him, and also as well the way that he was riding that day was towards the front, and I don't like horses on the flat anyway that normally trying to make, or it's not what I like. But yeah, Sword Beach, 16-1 with 4 places. I think that's a fair price, and that's why he's going to be my nap of the day. So they're the tips for the final day of Glorious Goodwood. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe here to my YouTube channel for more videos. Also as well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, where my handle is @LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, why don't you check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.